Hey guys, Ryan Finnegan here, owner of Finnegan Security Solutions, and I gotta tell you, I am fired up, and here's why I'm fired up. We've been seeing this gun debate go around and school security, and we need more armed resources officers. We should have, cops. We should arm teachers. Look, here's the deal, right? You can arm whoever you want, but if the teachers and the students don't know how to defend themselves, right, it's freaking useless. So think about this. Anytime you take a look around and you have one school resource officer, we'll take a school for instance. I have one school resource officer and I'm putting 3,000 lives in the hands of one armed guy. Does that make sense? Now, let's go on the other hand. I have one resource officer and I have 3,000 trained students that know the very basics on how to defend themselves. And I've got even a little bit more training in the teachers on how to handle their classroom so that when something happens, because the group mentality occurs, something happens, we go into lockdown, I lock my door and I tell the kids to hide and we just freeze. Right? No one's going to jump up. Maybe you'll have a classroom of one or two students that'll say, screw that, right? I'm not hiding and I'm not dying under my desk. What if I had a teacher that says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hide. Everybody look around and grab something. Remember that training that we had to defend yourselves? Okay, if that door opens, right, we are defending ourselves. Take two schools, for instance. Let's take two school districts, cities next to each other, right? So a shooter has two equal chances at two different high schools. I have one school district that says, I don't need any training. We're good to go. We're going to lock down. I got a school resource officer. We're good to go. You go to the next town over and you've got a school administrator that says, you know what? My students come first and I'm going to train them how to defend themselves so that if something happens in my school, if you come in and decide to attack it, you have 3,000 people that are ready to defend themselves. What do you think is going to happen? If I walk into a school and I know there's zero armed resistance, I've got one guy that I'm looking for that kills me. I know on a very good day I have 3 to 5 minutes to do complete destruction. And if I'm way out there, I may have 8, 10, 15 minutes before law enforcement arrives. So maybe it's one cop that comes hunting, right? That gives me time, but I have zero resistance. Or my other option is I go down the street, I got one school resource officer, I have 3 to 5 minutes to do damage. Maybe on a good day I have 8 to 10 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes before the cops come. But I know every time I walk into that room, I don't know what I'm going to get. But I know those schools, I know that those kids are trained in there. And if I get thrown in there, if I get through that door, I fully understand that I'm probably going to get hit with a stapler. I'm going to get stabbed with scissors. I'm going to get hit with a 3-hole punch. And I've got every kid in that classroom, or at least a quarter of them, that are going for my gun and going to kick the living crap out of me. What school are you going to take? I mean, ask yourself. What do you want? Do you want to go against heavy resistance or do you want to go for a soft target? Right? And what else do you get when I teach my teens in my schools, whether it's middle school or high school, what do I get the benefit of increasing somebody's self-confidence by them knowing how to defend themselves? I'm not going to, if I teach in a responsible manner, I'm not going to have a school full of mixed martial arts fighters that are walking around the halls throat punching each other. It's not going to happen. And technically, if you're in a self-defense situation, it's really hard to start a fight when you're trying to defend yourself, right? But if I'm teaching people how to defend themselves, it boosts self-confidence, right? It levels the playing ground against bullies. Because I can come pick on you all day long and you're not going to do anything. But if you have the self-confidence to stand up to say, enough's enough. Do not touch me and do not hit my stuff again. Right? What happens? I breed confidence. I breed increased ability in kids. Period. And I have a safer school. Because if something happens and somebody doesn't defend themselves, it's the bystander effect. People will stand around and they'll take their phones out and they'll watch. Because either they'll watch because they don't think it's a big deal, they'll watch because they don't think that they can defend themselves, or they just don't care. Right? But now if I breed confidence in the basic ability to step in safely, because there's nothing more dangerous than having a safe school and an anti-bully program, in my humble opinion, about teaching kids to engage in a potentially violent and dangerous situation and give them zero training on how to defend themselves, how to de-escalate a situation through choice words and a nonviolent posture. And that way, if the bully says, you know what, I'm done with you, I'm dealing with you, and I go, oh shit. Right? So if I want to establish a program, and when I teach self-defense, this is what I love about the Blauer Tactical Systems program, is PDR coaches and Spear coaches and Coach Blauer are out changing the world, and they're in the schools. Why? Because they're teaching nonviolent postures, how to avoid a conflict, how to diffuse a conflict, and when push comes to shove and you have no other option, how to defend yourself. Right? Imagine if I've got a school, and believe it or not, the state of California requires 9th to 12th graders to learn combatives. It is a requirement, not an option, not a they could learn this in lieu of this. It is they shall learn combatives. Now imagine if we could teach the kids how to defend themselves, right? And they understand the rules, that you won't bully somebody or you won't be an aggressor, because there's two types of fights. Right? There's a fight where I agree to fight you. I agree to meet you in the parking lot. I agree to meet you in the locker room, and we fight. That is not self-defense. That is mutual combat. In the state of California, that is a misdemeanor, and we agreed upon it. There is a set time and location. And then there's a fight where I have no other option. I've tried to avoid it. I've tried to diffuse it. I've tried to talk my way out of it, and I have no other option but to invoke my God-given constitutional right to defend myself. But somehow we take this away and we say that you can't defend yourself, right? And this is across the board. This isn't California, don't get me wrong. This is any student, any high school, any parent I talk to that automatically, for some reason, because it's in the schools, that if you were in a confrontation, whether you want it or not, either you get your ass kicked and you don't do anything, which is bad for your health, right? Or you defend yourself, you get suspended, right? So, got it. Whole nother topic, but what I want to do is get back on topic and teaching our kids to simply be able to defend themselves. And then I teach my teachers in my classroom that if something happens, here's what we're going to do. And that teacher takes charge, and instead of hiding and hoping, which will get you killed, is he or she is able to establish a plan. And that plan says, kids, we aren't dying today, right? That is fundamentally what needs to go on, because that will help mitigate across the board active shooters. Will it take it away? Absolutely not. Will it ever? Absolutely not. Will it help save lives? You're damn right it will, right? And it will make somebody think twice about a school that takes the time to train, prepare, and truly be a hard target, right? They are going to be less likely to be the victim of an attack. Now imagine if this thing starts to spread, right? And the more schools that do it, and it becomes the norm and not the exception to the rule, that it will show that when people start to show up, right, is that active shooters will occur, and the ones that will be casualties or injured are those that are in the open that can't help it. They're in the bathroom, they're in the hallways, they're in between breaks. But if it happens and that school locks down and those kids and that teacher gets ready to prepare for battle, right, for their lives, which is exactly what they're doing, right, the world is going to be a better place. So, hey, that's all I've got for now. I'm fired up. I feel much better. I had to get it off my chest, but I tell you what, hey, don't talk gun control right? Don't talk about arming teachers. What we need to do is start the conversation about how are we truly going to defend our kids and teach our kids to defend themselves. So until next time, stay prepared, be ready, train hard.